Not enough down the stretch. A big third quarter doomed the Sixers because the Blazers outscored them 35-20. Welcome here to Sixers postgame live, brought to you by Current Insurance, Amy Fiddle, Jim Lanham, and Mark Jackson. And we talked about it earlier, guys, just not getting the stops, and obviously then also not getting the offense going your way. When you're outscored by 15 in a quarter, that really sets the tone, Mark, after halftime. What did you see from the Sixers down the stretch? Because they had 61 at the half.
Yeah, I just think Portland turned it up. I think they pace of plays just kind of got to the Sixers a little bit. Maybe some fatigue set in because Sixers are limited in player personnel. But with that being said, I thought the momentum that third quarter, and we talked about it, back the way Golden State was dominating when in their heyday, is their third quarters is incredible. Once again, third quarter is important. As you see now, Portland used to their advantage, took advantage, they got the win.
Yes, they did. Well, it didn't help to have Tyrese Maxey go down with a back contusion in this game. So we're going to take a look at that play. And, Coach, I'll get you to weigh in. And we all kind of thought it like, no. We can't have any more things like this. And this was a really hard fall.
Yeah, he goes to the basket, as we know, with reckless abandon. But he got caught airborne there and got banged by two players. And I think he landed, we're going to see it here in slow motion. Looks to me like he's usually
we've seen him
instinctively,
make this play.
yeah. But and that was part of it. I think he got out of control on the drive, and I don't think he got his hands out to break his fall. And right there, landed on the small of his back.
Right there. So there was a back contusion, is what the Sixers said. He did not return to the game. Played 23 minutes. Rough shooting night. 2 of 13, 1 of 7. That's what he had before halftime. Was the 1 of 7 from 3. So he really hasn't been himself. We know he injured the finger on his shooting hand, so you can see that's been a problem for him. But hopefully this is not too serious and he can get right back at it, because they do have a game tomorrow night. Let's go to the gentleman who called this game. That will be Mike Tirico joining us along with Ala Abdinabi. And Mike, we appreciated you stopping by. It was so much fun to hear you give all the local things like the Sixers camps and the RAV fourth quarter and the stuff we're used to hearing from our local broadcasters. I know it was a special time for you, but we appreciated you. How much did you enjoy calling this game with Ala?
Well, I had a blast. The problem is I might not be invited back.
True.
I mean, we got two guys injured in the game here.
You're coming back.
I was waiting to say we all night, one to the home team. They give me a chance, but we lost 2 more guys here tonight. I mean,
I know.
What's going on? Alan, that's one of the most frustrating things. You were in the league for a long time, and you're 4 years at Duke, and basketball's been part of your life. And one thing, every sport, and Jim and Mark back in the studio, they'll tell you the same thing. Injuries are never an excuse.
No.
But there comes a point where you don't have enough guys. And right now, this team, I don't remember seeing an NBA team go through a stretch quite like this.
No, you're absolutely right. And again, at the time is the fact that the Sixers are not really at full strength. We've seen that, but they don't have any depth either. That's the problem. It's one thing to be riddled with injuries, but it's another thing to not have any options behind you on that bench. And I think now that we get deeper into this season, we're starting to see a myriad of injuries, guys going down left and right. It's a little disconcerting, but the 76ers, with their depleted ranks, have somehow got to get on a plane and go play one of the best teams in the Western Conference in less than 24 hours.
And it's one of the things, and Coach Lynham back in the studio knows all about this. Nobody cares,
no,
right?
Not at all.
Minnesota's going to see you come in and say, "Great, that's good for us." But for the fans, this is such a season of promise, and to see it go like this just has to be frustrating night in, night out. But you do love to see guys like Andre Drummond and the effort he gave to. Here's a veteran who's been around the league for a long time. He had one of the better games he's had in the last 3 or 4 years with 25 and 18 here tonight. So the guys who do play, or healthy enough to play, I should say, are still playing hard for Nick.
Yeah, and there's a lot to play for, right? You're not playing for necessarily this score or this season per se, but you're playing for future employers. There's always somebody watching you do your thing. So you're not playing to the score. You're playing to impress on a constant basis, hopefully.
So I'm disappointed. This will end my friendship with Kate Scott. I turn her back a team with 2 more injuries here, right? On a 1-game win streak and feeling good. But we'll see if the guys can find something. What a pleasure. Kate said how great a dude you are to work with.
My goodness, she lied to you.
She undersold it. You're right. She undersold it. You are fabulous.
You're too kind.
Real pleasure. We'll be watching you guys the rest
brother.
of the way. And Amy, thanks to you and the guys back in the studio, the whole team for the welcome. It was a fun hang. We need to get the Sixers healthy and better. So when we come back in the fall with the NBA on NBC, we're back in a building that I enjoy coming to and a place where they like me right now.
That's right.
Amy, the highlight of the night was when I got to ring the bell before the game. And the last thing, in true Philly fashion, the young man who brings the bell out looks at me and said, don't miss the bell. And I said, wait a minute, don't miss the bell. The bell is like bigger than our heads combined.
You'd be surprised, Mike. You'd be surprised.
That's what he said. He said, I said, how do people miss this bell? But so at least I got out of here unscathed and not on the blooper reel. But thanks, everyone. What a pleasure to be with you all tonight, and stay healthy the rest of the season.
We enjoyed it. Thanks so much for stopping by. We saw you with Nick Sirianni before the game as well, so good stuff. And we look forward to having you call the games this fall on NBC. Thanks, Mike Tirico. Thanks, Ala, too.
Thanks, Amy.
Thank you.
Yeah, you too.
Yeah, you too, Ala. You too. All right, thanks so much, guys. Kate Scott will be back with Ala tomorrow when they head out to Minnesota. And you know, Mike said it right there. It's tough. But, Coach, you know as good as anybody, it doesn't matter. The Timberwolves aren't going to feel bad for the Sixers having 2 more injured.
No, they'll be laying in wait. You know, the Sixers are going to be on a back-to-back, and my guess is they're going to be very, very short-handed again. But I think that Mike Tirico made a good point there, Amy. You can sustain injuries to a point. The degree to which their top 3 players, when you take Tyrese Maxey, who's been playing injured, then tonight he goes down and gets a back contusion. So no Joel Embiid. You have no Paul George, no Tyrese Maxey. I mean, you just 41 points in the second half. You reach a point, as Ala said, the depth is tested to a degree. You can't ask players to do something that they're simply not capable of doing. To go out and be able to give a good contribution and get your, 3 or 4 baskets in an 18-minute stint, that's your role. That's what this league is about, fulfilling your role. But guys are not going to go from 6-point scorers to 25-point scorers. To win last night, you needed 44 points from Grimes. To hang in this game tonight, you needed 16 at the half for Drummond. It's the most he's had in a half, in 4 or 5 years. And that's what you're asking. You're asking for players to do so much more than they're normally capable of doing.
Yeah, this one, second half, and Coach, you mentioned it, 41 points after the half is never going to get it done. And they just weren't unable to get stops. We talked about the offensive rebounding, but also about the lack of production. 35-20 is how the Trailblazers came out of the gates. And one thing that, Coach, I thought, and Mark, you both pointed out, how well the Trailblazers work in transition. All these are transition buckets. Sixers scrambling back to try and get back on defense. And that's one of the reasons they got crushed on the O boards as well.
And that ball was taken out of bounds. It wasn't a missed shot. That ball was taken out of bounds. But their pace is continuously up your back and make you get on your heels, and we're going to keep coming downhill. And that's what happened in the second half. I thought the Sixers did a very good job of running with them in that first half. This third quarter, I thought Portland just turned it up a whole nother level. Yeah,
I mean, Coach, that's such a good point. That these are not off misses. They're off makes sometimes.
Well, that's Portland style, Amy, and they've, got off to a bad start this year. But, I want to say since the halfway point, they've picked it up. And this style causes problems for teams because you're looking play after play. They constantly run the ball at you. And as a result, your defense doesn't get set. And the second thing they do, when they take the first shot, you're not in position to block people out. And as a result, these athletic guys knife to the rim and they create second opportunities. And they did it tonight.
Speaking of athletic guys, Anthony Simons, absolutely top of that list. 34 points, 13 of 26, 6 of 11 from 3. You can see that, couple of steals, some assists, and rebounds. He was all over the place. And here's a guy.
21 in the second half.
Exactly. 21 of his 34 coming in the second half. They came out of the gates. The Trailblazers have won 5 of their last 6, and without that overtime win by the Cavaliers, they should have won 6 in a row coming into
That was last night.
That was just last night. That's the thing. They're coming off of back-to-back. They did have a lot more energy. And how tough is it for them to play that style, coming off back-to-backs and continuing to play that style with the athletic nature that they have?
Well, the best part about Chauncey Billups having a young team, he can afford to do that because these guys got a tank full of energy. They can play back-to-back and run the same way. Eventually, teams wear down if you have something going back at them.
Yeah.
But the Sixers being shorthanded, they don't really have a lot of weapons to go back at them. So then the Sixers' legs wear out before them because they don't have enough guys. And then you look at this Portland team, this is how they play night in and night out. This is something they're comfortable with, and no matter what happens, they want to let you know we're going to continue to come at you.
Yeah, and they did with abandon as they outscored the Sixers big time in the second half. As I mentioned, it was 61-52 Sixers in the lead at the half, and this one finished 119-102. That lets you everything that you need to know about how this one went. We're back. Justin Edwards looks like aggravating an ankle injury. Of course, he missed some time earlier. He had this ankle injury suffered back on February 25th during a practice during the All-Star break. It's a little bit caught up with Shaedon Sharpe there and just kind of crosses it over, maybe lands a little funky on that one. Hopefully we can get an update on his status as well as Tyrese Maxey's status, who left about halfway through the third quarter with a back contusion, as we check in now with Nick Nurse.
Yeah, he had a lower back contusion. Had a couple doctors check him out. At this point, nothing too serious. They did say that could change in the morning, but hopefully not. He is going to travel, and they're going to, as of now, listed day to day.
And then Justin, it looked like.
Yep, sprained the same ankle. He just sprained a couple weeks ago or a month ago, whenever that was. Again, not as bad. By the end of the evaluation, he was walking on it. So hopefully it won't be too bad. But it is the same one that he hurt before. Yep. And Kelly was out for illness. They are planning on. He is planning on traveling as well. And Paul is also traveling, so all four of those guys are day to day. I would imagine they won't all hit the floor tomorrow, but hopefully a couple of them will.
What did you just make of Andre tonight?
Yeah, he had obviously his best scoring game of the year, best rebounding game, combination. He did a good job. We got him going early, and he kind of continued it the whole way through. Obviously was a big help on the glass. We obviously gave up a lot of offensive rebounds. It was tough out there. They again, I mentioned it before the game, they just kind of keep coming with big athletic wings, and those wings get to the glass, and we had a difficult time keeping them off there. Thought we played excellent in the first half. Didn't come out to start the second. I think it was a 14-3 start for them in the second, and Simons kind of hit 2 threes in that run. Somebody else hit one. I think it was Sharpe in that run as well. So 3 threes right out of the gate kind of took a little juice out of us, and then we just couldn't quite get it back. And they really kind of raced it at us on our misses on offense, and our transition defense wasn't quite good enough, and our defensive rebounding was kind of the story of the game.
When you see Tyrese fall on his back and Justin re-injure his ankle, and this season with all these injuries, what goes through your mind when you keep seeing more and more injuries?
Yeah, I mean, I think that, I'm just always been really hopeful that things will balance out, that at some point the injury bug will leave us, or injury cloud will leave us, and it just doesn't seem to, right? And it's disappointing always, first and foremost for the players, but it's been a lot. And not easy to deal with. But, it's like I told the guys, they played some really good basketball at times tonight. We got to shake it off and get out of here as quick as we can, get there and rest up tomorrow, and get ready to try to figure out how to get out there and play again tomorrow.
We haven't seen a ton of Jared Butler recently. What made you want to throw him out there tonight?
Yeah, I just kind of thought we were down to 10 guys, including a couple two-ways, and I just figured, man, let's get everybody over there onto the floor and get them in there, and just kind of wanted to give everybody a shot in the first half and see what happens, and that was pretty much the thought behind that.
Lonnie looked a lot more comfortable.
Obviously, he talked a little bit about those injuries, saying all 4 guys will travel. That's Paul George, who was dealing with a groin injury, Kelly Oubre, who was out with an illness tonight, Justin Edwards, who we saw re-aggravate that ankle injury, and then Tyrese Maxey listed as day-to-day as well with a back contusion, going to be reevaluated. So you hope they're going to be able to have at least half of those guys, because they're going to have a tough time fielding an entire team if more than 1 or 2 are out.